Welcome back to another episode of Keen on Australia. We look at all things with moving to Australia, living in Australia, and even how to get here. Today, we've got someone a little bit different on the show. We've had a lot of people who reach out from countries that aren't as lucky as Kiwis, where they're going to need a visa. So today, we've got a visa specialist on, and I'd love to welcome to the show. Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi, Darren. It's morning there and evening here. So it's hard to say is it morning or good evening. Yeah, so my name is Rhea Tolentino. I'm an registered migration agent. I'm currently based here in the UK. So I've been registered or been qualified to provide immigration advice since 2011. And so I've got about more than 10 years of experience behind me. So how I ended up in this industry is something I've never planned. It just, life just brought me here. I'm a migrant myself. I'm originally from Philippines, and so more than half a lifetime ago, I went to Australia on a student visa. Then decided the plan was a year study, but then decided I want to stay. So I found my way around the immigration system and got my PR, and then eventually became a citizen. And then that's when I thought, because I was working in business development back then, but thought, it would be nice to work in a field where I can help, not just, earn money, but also help and make people's lives, help in transitioning or make people's lives different and contribute to their development. And so I thought of doing a course, a graduate studies in um, Australian immigration law and practice, so I can be qualified to provide immigration advice. So I got yeah. So since then, 2011, I've been a qualified agent.
Oh, that's really exciting. You've been doing it for that long. Can you, like, obviously Kiwis don't need a visa, well, they have a visa, but it's an automatically granted one. For the rest of the world, can you give us a brief idea of what sort of types of visas they can get?
Okay, so visas, like if you want to move to Australia, so basically, moving and or you can just move temporarily or permanent. So if you're looking into a temporary move, student visa would be a good option, and a work visa, which is particularly 482 because it's a temporary visa. Um, and then if it's a permanent move, there are those visas like family visas. This would be partner or parent visa, and then it's the skilled visa, which is the 189, 190, and 491.
So you've got all those different visas. What are going to be some of the main requirements to get one of those skilled visas or a student visa? Is there something they've got to have, or how do they do it?
Okay, so for those, say, a skilled visa, basically you need to have an occupation on the skills list, and then you need to be under 45 years of age, and you need to have minimum 46, if 65 points. And then with a student visa, you need to obviously enroll to a course, and you need to show enough funds well to support you while you're studying in Australia. And then with a family visa, you must have an eligible sponsor. So say for a partner visa, you should be sponsored by your partner who's an Australian, either an Australian citizen or a permanent resident of Australia. And then if you're after a parent visa, obviously your child has to sponsor you.
And how long do they normally take to get some of these visas? Like, can you get them overnight, or are they quite a process to?
It's not overnight. I wish it is. I think the only quickest visa would be a working holiday visa, which it takes you, in a few minutes you have it. It's hard to tell the timeline, because each visa would have its own purpose. But just to give you an idea, say a student visa, it shouldn't take long, given the fact that the aim of that visa is for it has to be granted basically before in time for the course intake of the applicant. Work visas for a 482, it could take days to about 2 months. A 186 visa per the permanent the direct entry ones definitely will be longer. For family visas, again, it's case by case. Parent visa, definitely, it could take even 10 years or so. Um, Partner visa, maybe I just based it with the cases we've handled so far. I've not had for a partner visa, I've not had any case that went over 12 months.
Okay.
Uh, that is during pre-pandemic. But since pandemic, so basically before pandemic, it's 12 months. Usually that's the average. Now, since pandemic and until like the present, quickest would be 3 months, 6 months. I rarely have a year now. So it's actually
That's
good.
good. And then, are there common mistakes or are there things that people do wrong that can make the application not go well? Are there things you see that people just should not do?
Um, I guess the common mistakes would be not enough evidence, documents, this not enough documents to support the application, or basically the lack of information, lack of knowledge about the process.
Okay. So to give some idea about the knowledge, you said before they need points to get their visa.
Mhm.
What gives them these points? How do they get a high score? What would give them points?
So with a skilled visa, yes, it's a points test visa. Basically, an applicant would have to have an occupation from the list. They have to go through a skills assessment, and then they to be eligible for a skilled visa, you also have to score 65 points at least. So where do you get the points? You get the points with from age. The If you're 25, from age 25 to 32, you get the most points, 30. And then it decreases as you get older. By the time you're in your 40s, 40 to 44, you only get 15 points. Um, there's also the qualification. Obviously the higher your qualification is, the higher the points would be. There's the um yes, so there's the
Is there like an English test or anything for points
yeah,
or
there is an English test. So for English speakers, of for uh applicants who come from an English speaking country, you don't really need it's not mandatory that you do an English test. But you need a competent level at least, since you're an English speaker. If an English speaker is applying, there's no obviously they're technically they're competent in their language. But if you need to get points, a good way to boost your points is through English. So you can get from 10 to 20 points.
okay.
And yeah, so just basically to name a few, but actually in reality, points is not the only way to increase your chances for a skilled visa. Um, it's good to have the highest points, but I guess it's more of um the strategy, knowing what yeah, so knowing what you need to do to approach a visa application. So say for example, um not everyone, not known to many, the visa only 189 and 491 family stream are subject to high to points priority. So what that means is you have to have the high points to get an invite. But the 190 and 491 visa, regional stream is actually not subject to high points. So points, having the highest points is not the be all and end all for these visas. So it's more of the selection or the invitation round would depend on the selection criteria of the nominating state or territory.
And at the moment, are there certain jobs or industries that are a lot easier to get the visa? Like if you said, hey, I'm a cop or I'm a nurse, or is there certain jobs you're like, yep, that's an easy one to get a visa for?
So when are we talking about work visa or skilled
Oh,
visa?
to move here permanently. Are there for a skilled visa?
Permanently.
Are there
At the
jobs that
moment,
are
because
better?
I've recently, last year it was healthcare during pandemic, and then until last year. Now healthcare is also a priority, but now it's more this year. They're more gearing towards construction
Mhm.
industry, and as you know, you're
For a
in
lot
the
of your trade
industry.
jobs.
There is a shortage of houses. They need they need to really find a solution on where to place these people. And so yeah, so construction is, but yes, is a high priority. But then if you're in the healthcare industry, it's also an easy invite.
Awesome. And then what about if you're a business owner? Say you just go, like I know for America, you can spend a certain amount of money, hire a certain number of people, open a business, and they'll give you a green card. Is there an equivalent of that for Australia where you can buy?
There was, that's the Business Innovation and Investment Visa. That's the 188 visa. But unfortunately, they've stopped accepting application since July of this year. So at
Okay.
the moment, there's no provisional business visa, but we're still waiting updates on what 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 to come next. Yeah.
Okay. So they might come back. Then
Mm-hmm.
you said quite a few people come here on a student visa. If they're going to do that, can they work while they're on a student visa? And is there a way at the end that they can make it that they stay?
Um, yeah, work visa, student visa. Well, I'm a product of of this pathway. Um, there is you do have work rights, but then one thing to take note is you don't go on a student visa hoping to be able to work and sustain you. There is work restrictions. You're limited to working not more than 40 hours in a fortnight.
Yeah.
So with those hours, it's not enough. You won't be earning enough to sustain your living expenses.
And if you're going to move here permanently, I see you said you're going to have a certain amount of money to move as a student. What about
Mhm.
as a permanent move? Do families or people have to show a certain level of savings to get their visa?
Um, it used to be some states still um is they still asking for, so if you're a 491 visa, it used to be they ask for um funds maintenance. But I think it's now Queensland. There's just a few states that ask for it. Lately, since pandemic, they're kind of not gearing towards that. Yeah, so but I think it's always, I tell my clients it's always safe to have it ready in case they ask, because they can always ask.
Cool. And what's the most common reasons you're seeing people get their visa rejected? Is there certain things you're seeing that mean people don't pass?
Um, I don't want to. I get always that question, like how what's your success rate? And I don't even, although I would say I've not had a visa refuse, I don't even want to use it as a way to lure clients,
Yeah.
because the thing is there are a lot of agents. I don't want to, but there's those practices where they say, oh, 100% success rate, but I feel like there is kind of misleading. There is a misleading element to that, because like for me, if say for a skilled visa, I basically I won't accept a case if I think it's not. doable because I don't want headaches.
And that's a good way
So
to be.
if
It's the same with the clients we buy houses for. If we look at them and honestly believe they can't buy a house, we'll tell them what they need to go and
yeah,
do,
exactly,
need to do to
exactly.
achieve their goal, but we'll
Yeah,
never take them as a client because we just know they
mm,
can't do it.
yeah, yeah.
It does make it a lot easier.
Yeah, it's also because we're bound by a code of conduct, and if we know it's not a viable case, we can be sanctioned. Like, it's like it's not just the money; it's also your integrity, and why waste your time and people's time when it's not gonna work.
100%. So, what are the good resources, or what do you recommend people do that are going to be moving? Like, how do they find out some more information about moving and for their new life and all those sort of things? Is there anything you recommend to them?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, there's not much that I think that the online groups would be a good help. But one thing you need to be careful of these groups is that you're getting information from someone who's not qualified. And with the, you know, policies are ever changing. Within months, it can change. So there's that high risk that you may be getting an outdated information, and that also will create issues in the end.
That
It
is a
can
big one
be,
I've noticed with platforms like TikTok. I know we've got videos out there potentially that are now 3 odd years old, and the information was correct at the time.
yeah,
The videos stay on the internet forever, so you do have to actually
yeah,
research that's the current information. So it's great that there's a lot
mm,
of free information out there, but sometimes it does, pay to check with a professional, make sure
yeah,
that that information is correct for today. Because as
yeah,
you say, overnight one thing can change, but all the free
yeah,
information stays out on the internet because it's never deleted.
yeah. And I always say not until you got the information from the immigration website or from an immigration specialist, don't stop searching for facts because it's not it remains hearsay what the information that you've gathered. It's not official information.
And that's why I have to say our show is always general advice. We obviously highly recommend people get specific advice for their individual cases, which would be the case in this, especially with moving and relocating. If you do need to talk to about a visa, you need to talk with a professional about it, not just people that have done it before or people that have done it in the past or people that might think they know what they're doing.
Mhm.
Every case is different. So if
Yeah.
people did need some more help, how would they find you? How do they contact you?
Um, yeah, I'm in the UK. Our our website, it's just basically when people come to me. So my email address is ria@visaconsort.com. Um, so that's you can also when someone gets in touch with us, I think the first thing we want to see is to complete our web form because all the information are in there, and then from there we can send them an info pack of what they need, everything they need at that time, and then if they want ask to we'll invite them for a consultation if they want to
Go over it
have
all?
a time and organize something with us. And yeah, so our email website would be visaconsort.com. So just and
Awesome.
then yeah, and
So
then
what
just
I'll
click on
do
the web form. Yeah.
I'll grab all that off you. We'll put it on the show notes as well, so people can just click on it rather than have to type it. And we'll share
Yeah.
your link obviously on our pages. So thank you for coming on the show. It's been really helpful because
Thank
obviously
you,
for us,
Darren.
I didn't need a visa to move, and a lot of people I help don't need visas, but we do get a lot of inquiries from people that do. So hopefully people enjoyed the show. We'll have more shows coming out again soon. We've got a pretty special one coming up pre-Christmas. And then obviously we'll be into a bit of a break for the year and then back again next year. If you've got any questions, want any information, want to know something about moving or living to Australia, just reach out to us. That's how we choose to get these professionals on because it's your questions what we want to answer. Thank you for all listening to the show on your chosen platform. We'll be back again on Keen on Australia very soon.